dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, today in Standard 10's History, we'll be learning the topic Tourism and History. In the last chapter, we discussed about the sports and history. Now in this topic, we are going to cover the points tourism in the past, types of tourism, development of tourism, conservation and preservation of historical places, and professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. So here on the screen you can see the different images, and by this we can understand that the tradition of traveling is quite old in India. People used to travel for various reasons like pilgrimage, the very important type of tourism in India, and it has history. So going to local fairs and festivals in search of renowned teacher and good education, for trade. All these are the reasons behind the tourism or traveling from one place to another place in India. But the basically two things are very important when we talk about the past of Indian tourism or the tourism in India. That is the pilgrimage. अलग अलग रिलीजन्स हमारे देश में है और अलग अलग रिलीजन की अलग अलग कुछ स्पॉट्स है, कुछ जगह है, वहाँ पर लोग जाते हैं. For Hindus, different places are there. For Muslims, different places are there. For Sikhs, different places are there. And not only for the religion, but for the castes also, different fairs and festivals are there. So people used to move from one place to another place, and it is in the tourism. So in brief, from ancient times, people took to traveling for various reasons. On the screen you can see the places related to different religions or the pilgrimage places, we can say. And the next thing, Benjamin of Tudela is known as the first European traveler or discoverer. He was born in Spain during the period of 1159 to 1173 CE, and he traveled to, now just look at this, he traveled to France, Germany, Italy, Greece, Syria, Egypt, Arabia, Iraq, Persia, India, and China. Just see the number of countries, and that is in the period of 1159 to 1173 CE. He maintained diaries of the accounts of his travels, which means that wherever he traveled, he used to write down the things, he put the notes, and today his diaries are viewed as important historical documents. Now you people already learned about the sources of history, and in the sources of history, these diaries are like source of history. So if you want to know something about particular country or about particular route, then we can go for the diaries of Benjamin. The travels of Benjamin of Tudela. Here in the map also you can see how he traveled or managed traveling from one place to another place. Now the next one in this, very famous, Marco Polo, the Italian traveler of the 13th century. Italian traveler of 13th century introduced Asia, especially China, to Europe. he stayed in China for 17 years, and there he wrote about the flora and fauna, social life, cultural and trade systems of Asia. Now we people in the geography of standard 10th talking about the flora and fauna of India and Brazil. Just like in the 13th century, Marco Polo lived in China for 17 years, and there he wrote down the things about China, or especially we can say which throw light on flora and fauna, social life, culture and trade systems of Asia. Next to him, again the very famous Ibn Battuta, the traveler of the 14th century, took the world on a virtual travel of the Islamic world with his travel accounts. He was traveling for 30 years, continuously moving from one place to another place for 30 years. He had resolved not to travel twice on the same route. एक रास्ता एक बार यूज किया तो फिर उस रास्ते पे नहीं चलना है. He had resolved not to travel twice on the same route. His accounts are helpful in understanding the medieval history and social life. So here again I am repeating the same thing. If we want to know about the social culture, social customs and social traditions of any particular area or of any particular region, then we can go through the diaries of travelers or the things which they wrote. Now next to Ibn Battuta, stories of Ibn Battuta are also very famous. Next one, Gerardus Mercator of the 16th century was a cartographer, which means that again the very famous when we talk about geography, making maps. He is known for creating a world map. He is known for making or creating world map and globe of the earth. Here on the screen also you can see. His work proved to be very useful for navigation around the world. So it's not simple thing when we talk about the Gerardus Mercator who is known for creating a world map and globe of the earth. Today the globe everywhere there in the school. So this globe first time is Gerardus Mercator ने बनाया. Now the next, the Buddhist literature tells us that Gautam Buddha traveled to several cities in ancient India for preaching. Buddhist monks were ordained not to stay at one place but keep traveling continuously to various places to spread their knowledge, to preach the people and to increase the religion. Jain monks, here sadhus also used to travel constantly. Then if we talk about this person, Yuan Shang, the Chinese monk, traveled to India in 630 CE in the medieval period. Then here in the first image, Sant Namdev, Sant Eknath, Sant Guru Nanak, Ramdas Swami traveled extensively in India. So basically about what we are talking, that the tourism in India is not something new. It has long history. Now the next point, tourism. What is tourism? Tourism can be defined as traveling to visit places in distant regions for a specific purpose. Now this purpose may be vary individually. हर एक person का अलग अलग purpose हो सकता है of traveling, and that we call as tourism. About the purpose also we are going to talk in the types of tourism. But here the basic thing about tourism, just try to understand that traveling to visit places in distant regions for a specific purpose is tourism. In the latter half of the 19th century CE, the name of the name of Thomas Cook is noteworthy in the context of tourism history, because Thomas Cook changed the tourism industry because he organized a trip by railway from Leicester to Laborde from about 600 people. For about 600 people, and eventually he established a travel agency selling tourist tickets. This early venture of Thomas Cook opened doors for the development of modern tourism, and nowadays today we can see that number of people using airways travel from one country to another country or within the countries. और छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के लिए भी लोग आजकल एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जब जाते हैं तो बाय एयरवेज जाते हैं. दिस हैपेंड बिकॉज ऑफ द थॉमस कुक, और वी कैन से ही स्टार्टेड दिस टाइप ऑफ टूरिज्म all over the world. Then the tradition of traveling from corner to corner was prevalent in India from ancient times. In this, Vishnu Bhatt Godse wrote down the accounts of his journey from Maharashtra to Ayodhya. Maharashtra to Ayodhya and back to Maharashtra. महाराष्ट्र से अयोध्या तक और अयोध्या से फिर महाराष्ट्र तक. It is published as a book entitled Mazha Pravas, which means my journey. Vishnu Bhatt traveled during times of the Indian War of Independence in 1857, and he was the eyewitness for many events related to his historical event. Now, from moving from one place to another place, the things whichever he experienced, he wrote down in his book. And by reading that book, we can get exact idea about that particular period or the things how happened during the 1857 Independence War. His accounts are full of detailed discrimination about various incidences during this period, especially those about the life of Lakshmibai, the Queen of Jhansi. We also get to know the nature of Marathi language of the 18th century, because the language which he used in his book was the language of that particular period. So if you want to know more about the language of that period or the words of that period, then we can go through this book. This book is one of the important sources of history of that period. So travelers played a very important role in keeping account of history while moving from one place to another place, and today we can use these books or the diaries of these travelers as sources of history. Now in detail we are going to talk about the types of tourism. Now the first thing, very important and very clear, that the tourism can be defined as traveling to visit places in distant regions for a specific purpose. Now here the purpose of the traveling decides the type of tourism. For example, if we are talking about geographic tourism, then it is all about the geographic study of any particular place or the flora and fauna of any particular region. So here in the types of tourism we have local and interstate tourism, international tourism, historical tourism, sports tourism, health tourism, tourism based on special events, agro-tourism, historical tourism. So if we talk about today's period, then these days tourism has become an independent field of local, interstate, national and international business. The desire to visit national and international monuments, places of historical importance and natural beauty, ancient centers known for handicrafts, pilgrim centers, industrial centers and sites of various developmental projects, etc. promotes tourism. Now if we talk about our family, अगर हम फैमिली मेम्बर्स कहीं पिकनिक के लिए, ट्रिप के लिए जाना चाहते हैं, एंड इफ़ वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द प्लेस वेयर टू विजिट और वेयर टू गो, कहाँ जाना है, तो मम्मी पापा को कहीं अलग जाना है, दादा दादी को कहीं अलग जाना है, एंड एज अ चाइल्ड, एज अ चिल्ड्रन हम लोगों को कोई और जाना होता है. तो हम लोग ऐसी पिकनिक, ऐसा टूरिस्ट प्लान, हमारा टूरिज़म प्लान देखते हैं कि सबको एक ही प्लान में हमें सारी जगहें घूमने को मिल सके. So nowadays all these things are very important when we talk about the tourism. The places like snow-capped peaks, beaches, pristine jungles which were neglected previously became important locations of tourist interstates. And mass media began to make special audiovisual presentations highlighting places of tourist interest. Number of things are there nowadays on social media. If we go through the Facebook or WhatsApp or Twitter, number of YouTube channels are there especially based on the tourism. And because of all these things, we know the number of local tourist spots also which are around our village or our city. So tourism can be broadly typified into local tourism, interstate tourism, international tourism, religious tourism, historical tourism, for example like our school picnics, health tourism, science tourism, agro-tourism, sports tourism, tourism based on special events, for example on the occasion of birthday or on the occasion of any anniversary. People visit the different places, and that is what is in the type of tourism. Now in this, the first one, local and interstate tourism. This kind of tourism is not very overwhelming because it is within one's own country. Local and interstate, it does not cause difficulties of language because we are in the same place where we are living. Then the procuring currency and documents, we don't need any kind of document to go anywhere in our country. Then there is no problem of the language if it is interstate. And more so, we can plan it at the time suitable to us. So this is what is local and interstate tourism. And the next one, international tourism. Nowadays it has become easier to travel because of the easy availability of number of options of railway, marine and air transport. हर एक की ख्वाहिश होती है कि हमें कभी ना कभी एब्रॉड जाना है, किसी और दूसरे देश को विजिट करना है, वहाँ की कल्चर, वहाँ के कस्टम एंड ट्रेडिशन समझना है. दिस इज द विश. And because of the facilities which are available today like railway, marine and air transport, it became very easy. Marine transport has linked the coastal regions. There is a trans-European railway route. Aviation has brought the entire world closer. So aviation played very important role in bringing the world together. Because of the economic liberalization policy of the Indian government, the number of people traveling back and forth from India has increased considerably. They include people traveling for studies. Now we are talking about the reasons. Studies, पढ़ाई के लिए बहुत सारे लोग अलग अलग देशों में जाते हैं. अगर आप भी इंटरेस्टेड है तो अच्छी पढ़ाई करके वहाँ की जो बेसिक टेस्ट होती है वो पास होके यू कैन ऑल्सो go for studies. Then for relaxation, sightseeing and professional assignments, which includes meetings and agreements. Also for shooting of films. Nowadays many films which shoot outside our country. One needs to procure various official documents for traveling abroad. While traveling in our country or within the country, local and interstate tourism, there is no need of any kind of document. But whenever you are planning international tourism, then it is very important to procure various official documents. Here you can see the reasons: studies, relaxation, sightseeing, professional assignments, and also for shooting films. But for this you need passport. Historical tourism. This type of tourism is popular all over the world. Tours to historical places are arranged to satisfy people's interest in history. If you are interested in history, if your subject is history, then you people are planning to visit the historical sites, then it is in the historical tourism. Now on the screen you can see the pictures of Shivaji Maharaj. So in 4th standard and 7th standard history we learnt about the Shivaji Maharaj, and if you are visiting any fort of Shivaji Maharaj, then it is under historical tourism. It can be noted in this context that Gopal Nilkant Dandekar, a renowned Marathi writer, used to arrange hiking tours to forts in Maharashtra to explore the sites closely linked to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his achievements. Now here on the screen you can see historical tourism, which is popular all over the world, and tours to historical places are arranged to satisfy people's interest in history. Now on the screen, Gopal Nilkant Dandekar. Tours are also arranged to important historical sites in India, such as forts in Rajasthan, ashrams of Mahatma Gandhi and Acharya Vinoba Bhave, important places related to the Indian War of Independence in 1857. Now on the screen you can see the books written by Gopal Nilkant Dandekar, and by reading these books also one get interested in the history. All these books are related with the forts in Maharashtra. Now here you can see forts in Rajasthan, Sevagram Ashram of Mahatma Gandhi, Lal Killa in Delhi, Sabarmati Ashram. So these are the places which are under the heading of historical tourism. Now next thing, geographic tourism. This type of tourism involves visiting places to observe special geographic features of a region, which includes various natural and animal sanctuaries, places like Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, various beaches, unique geographical wonders like the crater lake at Lonar and Ranjan Khalge, naturally carved out cavities in rocks at Nigos in Maharashtra. So many tourists like to visit these places to satisfy their curiosity. So it depends on the interest. Again and again the same thing which is very important when we talk about the tourism. जो प्लेस आप सेलेक्ट करोगे इज डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली डिपेंड्स ऑन योर इंटरेस्ट. आपका इंटरेस्ट क्या है उस पर ये बेस है कि आप कौन सी जगह पे जा रहे हैं. इफ़ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन जियोग्राफी और you are interested in studying the geographical features of any particular region, then you will decide the place according to that. If you are interested in history, you will decide the place according to that. And if you want to get relax, तो आप एक नेचुरल स्पॉट अच्छा सा कोई डिसाइड करेंगे और वहाँ पर पिकनिक के लिए जाएंगे. Next point, health tourism. People from the Western countries find the health services and facilities in India comparatively cheaper and it of good standard comparing to other countries. So hence, many foreigners prefer to come to India to avail of the medical facilities and health services. अगर किसी दूसरे एक देश में कोई डिसीज़ है, कोई प्रॉब्लम है किसी को, उस पेशेंट को अपनी ट्रीटमेंट करनी है और वो ट्रीटमेंट इंडिया में सस्ती भी मिल रही है और अच्छी भी मिल रही है, तो अपने देश से इंडिया में आएगा. Such kind of tourism is called health tourism. India is a tropical country where ample sunlight is available throughout the year. These attract tourists from countries with cold climate to India. Availability of facilities for yoga training and therapies based on Ayurveda is one more reason to want to visit India. And nowadays there is number of people who are fond of yoga. So yoga is spreading everywhere in the world. Ayurveda also doing well in the field of medical. सो ये सारी चीज़ें देखने के लिए करने के लिए बाहर से लोग अपने देश में आते हैं. ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर अंडर द हेल्थ टूरिज्म. नाउ नेक्स्ट वन, एग्रोटूरिज्म. Agrotourism, which is also known as agritourism, which is related with the farm, is rapidly developing, especially meant for the urban population which has very little exposure to rural life and agriculture. People who are living in the cities or not very close to the rural areas, such people plan to visit the farms, which comes under agro-tourism. Now Indian farmers are also visiting far away places like agricultural research centers, agricultural universities and countries like Israel where experimentations in advanced technology for agriculture is carried out. So such kind of visits are for research, for study and to learn something new in the field of agriculture. Then the next one, Israel Agriculture 2018, the International Catalog for Advanced Agricultural Technology. So हमारे देश से अगर कोई इजराइल में जाता है वहाँ की एग्रीकल्चरल टेक्निक समझने के लिए, that comes under agro-tourism. Sports tourism. Sports tourism was developed in the 20th century. There are various sports events organized on international level like Olympics, Wimbledon, World Chess Championship and international cricket tournaments. In the last chapter in detail, we people discussed about the different sports competitions. So while there are events like Himalayan car rally on national level, events like Maharashtra Kesari wrestling competitions are organized on state level. Traveling to attend such events comes under sports tourism. If there is a match in your city, अगर वहाँ पर ग्राउंड है, किसी भी स्पोर्ट्स टाइप की हो सकती है, वो अगर आप देखने के लिए जाते हैं, दैट इज ऑल्सो द स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, tourism based on special events. People want to travel and they are often on the lookout for special reasons to do it. In the 21st century, it has become common to organize such events which also help to promote tourism. Now this includes film festivals, various types of seminars and conferences. Again, the same thing based on the different subjects. International book exhibitions, etc. are examples of such special events. People keep visiting several places to attend such special events. Many literature enthusiasts in Maharashtra travel every year to attend Akhil Bharatiya Marathi Sahitya Sammelan. So there are number of events all over the world. If you are interested in the literature, you'll go through the literate festivals. Then film festivals are there like गोवा फिल्म फेस्टिवल और अलग अलग शहरों में भी बहुत सारे फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स होने लगे हैं. सो द हियर बेसिक थिंग इज ऑफ योर इंटरेस्ट. इन विच थिंग यू आर इंटरेस्टेड you will go for that. So in today's part we discussed about the tourism in the past, types of tourism, and in that we discussed about the local and interstate tourism, international tourism, historical tourism, geographic tourism, health tourism, agro-tourism, sports tourism, tourism based on special events. Now in the next part of this topic we'll talk about the development of tourism, then conservation and preservation of heritage, professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry, development of tourism in Maharashtra.
Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications.
So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.